Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2023, or rather the 2024 Honda Brio. Now, this is actually a 2024 because it's already July and it's got some new bits and bobs on it that I will take you through some of the changes, but not exactly on this variant because I want to put my focus on this particular variant right here. This is also the 2023, or rather 2024 Honda Brio, but this is the blacktop CVT RS. Now, it's obviously got a lot more bits and bobs to it, so we'll discuss that. But before we do, I'd like to say that it is impossible to look at this particular color and not smile. When Jack and I came here first and we saw this automobile, we couldn't stop smiling because of two reasons. Number one, we finally found a car that matches Jack's bottle. That's amazing. That's one. And second is that Jack and I realized that because of its black top and its electric lime color, that it reminds us of a Stabilo pen. Not like Jack and I ever used it because we were just copying off our seatmates, which is not an excuse for anybody young enough that's still in school to do the exact same thing. Stay in school and study hard. But it's nostalgic and it's really very cute, and it brings a smile to our faces that we actually said we'd love it if this car actually went viral to a point that everybody starts buying it, because I think the demeanor of everybody on the road will be so much better if we saw a lot of this particular color on the road. So cute. Let's get past the color, shall we, and tell you what it is, that the changes that are found on the 2024 Brio, because it already is July. Let's start at the front clip. First thing that you'll notice on the RS is that the grille, this blacked out grille, which actually looks very, very good, is very different from the lower variants of the Brio. That's one. Second is the headlamps. These headlamps now are an all LED affair, from your DRLs up on top to your headlamps itself, and even your fog lamps found down below, all LED. Meanwhile, on the lower variant, there is no fog lamp and the headlamps are actually halogen. The bumpers on both models have actually changed. They've beefed them up a lot, and not just the front bumper, but the rear bumper as well. We'll get to that a little bit later. More changes down the side. You will note that these are now 15s on this particular Brio, which look very, very good. A different design altogether, while you have 14s on the lower variant. Here on the RS, you've got skirts on the bottom, body color found up on top, same as the lower variant Brio, with black cladding found at the bottom of the sills. An addition to the RS is that the side mirrors are covered in black. Piano black plastic, not the greatest of things if you're touching it, but it's outside the car, so the wind's just blowing up against it, so it looks nice, it's shiny. Now at the rear, and I'm sure Jack has got a really good angle of the rear that I want to show you because he's actually very good at what he does.
Wow, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, sir. You can tell that the shape is actually very, very gorgeous, almost pear-shaped like, but not in a bad way, in a good way, because the width on the bottom adds to its sportiness and stance, while the shape up on top, it looks as if the wind is just going to pass right through. I love it. And then the spoiler obviously has a nice continuation from the blacked out roof, with the third brake light also found there. On the bottom, as I mentioned earlier, this is a new design bumper. Again, very wide, adds to it. Again, also with the lights. I mean, the bumpers widen up, but the lights just make it look wide, like barn doors really, which is not a bad thing. When you open her up, you are looking at 258 liters of space. Obviously not enough to carry a balikbayan box because it's not that much. It's quite deep, which is good, not so great if you're carrying heavier items. But the nice thing is that the Brio is actually a low car, so putting heavier items, even for a shorter person like myself, won't be an issue. Now, if the 258 liters isn't enough, then you can always fold the second row, which you can max that out at 851 liters of space. Thank you for the tip, Jack. And because this opening is actually quite large, you can fit not just one, but two balikbayan boxes in there. Inside the rear seats of the RS, or even the lower variant, I think that it's pretty much the same to report as the previous model, which is the seats are good for my persons as myself, and perhaps even a little bit taller, because that's Jack's normal driving position. So if I were to drive, then Jack definitely would fit here because the leg room, or the knee room, is actually pretty good. The head room is quite decent enough for a smaller automobile. Elbow room is probably good for 2 medium to large size adults. If you put a third person, while there is no tunnel in the center, I'm not even sure if a person of my size would fit here comfortably. It would be a tight fit, but I guess for inside the city, I don't think it would be any issues. There are no toys back here to speak of, other than the bottle holders and the speakers on either door. And then you've got a cup holder in the center that if you need to steal it away from the people up front, that you can. So I will say that while there are no toys, I am pretty comfortable. I'm seated in a very good manner that my thighs aren't going to be hanging out, and I feel as if that there is enough support in the seats to keep me comfortable back here if there are only just two of us. Let's move on to the front where there are some actually pretty cool changes. Now, while up front, it's... My God, Jack, you're so tall. While up front, there are still similarities to the old RS in the sense that this is a nice color accent found here underneath the vent. In the old RS, this actually continued to be the same color, but now it's all blacked out. That is one change. Another change is that this infotainment system now has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Nice, good job, Honda, and it's a Kenwood system too. The Kenwood system is also connected to 6 speakers inside this car, 1 on each door, plus a tweeter on the front 2 doors, which is actually pretty cool. There is no longer an RS badge found in the instrument cluster, but I skipped something. I skipped the fact that sadly there's still no reverse camera, but there are now parking sensors found inside this automobile, which I think is obviously a big help. And let's be honest with one another, I do realize that in this day and age, everybody should have a reverse camera. Yeah, I get, but it's actually a very small automobile and you can turn your head. Okay, maybe not me. Oh, that's ages. This aging thing is not fun. The only thing that's left to tell you is the price of the all-new Honda Brio and all its variants, which I'm gonna do right now. Before I tell you what the prices are, I figured you'd want to know what it is underneath the automobile because I think that's pretty important. It's still the same, however, the same 1.2 liter 4-cylinder gasoline-powered single overhead cam engine that produces 89 horses and 110 Newton meters of torque, mated to, as you would guess it, it's in the name, a CVT. Now the prices. The prices start at just 735,000 Philippine pesos for the Brio manual transmission, but the RS tops out at 863,000 Philippine pesos, which I think is a pretty respectable price, to be honest with you. It gets you an eye-opening kind of a thing, much like the color is. I'd like to know from you guys, however, considering the changes that you find in the new RS, what do you think about this price? Is it worth it? Is it too much? Is it just right? Or is it a steal? Let us know in the comments below. Also, before I go, again, if you have the means to get yourself an RS, kind of choose this color, please, because it'll make the world just a nicer place to be in. In fact, I promise you, every time we see this on the road, Jack and I will roll down our windows and shout, "Hey!" And then if you cut us off, we'll be like, "Hey." We'll just point at you for no random reason.